Oh, shit.
This is said to be the moment emergency crews reached the helicopter crash site. With large pieces of debris strewn across a wooded area on a mountainside in northwestern Iran. In spots, the ground is charred from what looks to have been a fiery impact. To recover the bodies of everyone on board, first responders had to trek across that difficult terrain. Iranian state TV said President Ebrahim Raisi's helicopter encountered bad weather and had a technical failure. Some in Iran blamed Western sanctions for the lack of access to aircraft parts, a claim the U.S. firmly rejected.
It's the Iranian government that is responsible for the decision to fly a 45-year-old helicopter in what was described as poor weather conditions, not any other actor.
Reaction to Raisi's death has varied. Some in Tehran gathered to mourn and pray. Allies, including the Turkish president, offered condolences, as did officials in China and Russia. And at the United Nations, there was a moment of silence. But there were also celebrations, highlighting Raisi's actions dating back to the 1980s, when he oversaw the execution of political prisoners, and the more recent anti-government protests, largely led by women, over the death of Mahsa Amini.
Some of the worst human rights abuses occurred during his tenure as president, especially the human rights abuses against the women and girls of Iran.
Raisi's death triggered an emergency cabinet meeting, and a caretaker government is organizing elections for June. They are trying to maintain calm until new leadership is in place.
I don't foresee any major policy changes from Iran. They're likely going to want to keep this as stable as they can and as uninterrupted as they can in terms of government policies.
So, Katie, Iran is ruled by its supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and President Raisi, I suppose, was largely seen as his maybe likely successor?
Yeah, and so that's the next big picture question. Who is going to fill that void? Raisi was largely seen as a weak leader, someone who was implementing the will of the Ayatollah. And that is why analysts tell me they're not expecting any changes when it comes to Iran's domestic or foreign policy, especially right now with the war in the Middle East. Here in the U.S., officials say they have no plans to change their Iran policy. They did offer official condolences, which sparked backlash online from Raisi's critics. But those condolences later came with a scathing assessment of Raisi's record. Adrienne.
All right, Katie Simpson in Washington.